Just making sure we're good. Hello, and welcome to a special episode of Top of the Morning.
Top of the morning to you. We're here on board the USS Constellation, our mothership, which we've been on for Mother's Day.
That's literally perfect. So this is just a special episode where we're going to be honoring our mothers for Mother's Day and giving a few tips.
Well, also, we've been doing Top of the Morning on board the ship for 20 years now.
Yes.
So we've stood the test of time. No budget, just us chickens here. But it's 20 years, so I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
And we're going live, but this is our first live feed. Well, it's going to go up on YouTube Live. So we're not going to do the regular formatting of the opening and closes with the titles. We're just going to, it's just us saying hello and welcome on board the USS Constellation. And by the way, the ship is like in the harbor. This is what we're famous for, is that we bring the local people down on the ship. You know, because they got plenty of tourism and plenty of tourists going on. But we bring the locals down on the ship. And so the thing is, the ship is like the Statue of Liberty in New York. Nobody in New York visits the Statue of Liberty. Nobody in Baltimore comes to the ship and all the wonderful things on the harbor. I mean, there's historicships.org is the ship, this ship, Constellation, USS Constellation, the Chesapeake, the Taney, the Torsk submarine with humongous history. You have to go online and check it all out. When you come for your tour, you get to tour all of them. And the lighthouse is like a wonderful thing to see too. Now there's so much else on the harbor in Baltimore.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Not just so much stuff, there's also so many people constantly on as you can probably already hear actually.
Yeah, we have our own musician outside playing on the harbor right now.
It's special for us. But there's always performances going on the harbor. I feel like we have to say this every episode just because Baltimore is filled with so much art and history and stories that everybody wants to share their own.
Yeah, and there's loads of ships down here. You can take the ferry boat all over the place to go. You can go to Fells Point. You can go to Fort McHenry. So once you're on the harbor, you have access to a whole load of other things happening down here. And the downtown bus service is free. And the color lines, the green, the purple, and the red, and the orange, they go all over downtown Baltimore. So do come downtown Baltimore, do come on board the ship, and when you come and pay for your ship pass, you get to go on all these other things we're saying with the historicships.org.
And if you want to get on this episode, contact me at brittrunk7@gmail.com. And we could get you your own little interview.
Yeah, because Britt is the casting director for Top of the Morning. So we do cast. We do go. Brian Dragonuk is one of our favorite guys. God rest his soul, but his site is still up. And we do cast, but if you want, Brittany's got an inside track. So, well, today is Mother's Day, and we have a great show we hope for you today. And just in case the commercials pop in here, you might be seeing a commercial. So in case there's a commercial, because you know how it is on YouTube, hello, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
And
we're back.
We're back. So this is going to be our format now. So if there's a commercial, there's a commercial. But otherwise, we're just going to upload this whole show, half hour, right onto YouTube. So,
yeah.
Brittany, let's go.
All right, well, I'm going to start with Brittany's News of the Week, if we missed that one, I know Live did. And for Mother's Day, in case you forgot, it's coming up. It's next week.
Yeah.
Let's say, so if you haven't thought of any gifts to get your mama, well, I got some ideas for you. There's plenty of, I know my mom personally loves handmade stuff. So I've made jewelry before, I've made art, I've done little performance pieces of my own where I've sang my, this was more for their anniversary, but I sang my parents' anniversary song or their wedding song to them for their anniversary. So moms always love that, as long as you're showing you care.
And it's not about money if you don't have money, because I have 6 children. I still have them. They're not real happy with me sometimes, but they're still mine. And one of my daughters Bridget was born on Mother's Day. How nice. So she always says she's the favorite daughter because I gave birth to her on Mother's Day. Well, we didn't have a lot when they were growing up, so one of the things I loved were getting these little coupons or cards that said back rub or breakfast in bed.
Oh.
And Brittany was mentioning earlier that she was sad to hear that kids weren't giving their parents breakfast in bed anymore.
Yeah, I read an article, and I don't remember the source right now, so I will try to comment it in the live video if I can. But apparently, just as of late, people aren't really doing that for their moms anymore. If anything, they like take them out to a dinner and call it a day, which isn't a bad thing, but just a reminder real quick to everybody, if you hear all that talking, there are live tours on the USS Constellation, so...
And we go amongst the tours. The tours are allowed to come in, hopefully not interrupt the show too much. So what you were saying?
Right, so, yeah, unfortunately, it seems like people are just not showing that interest or, like, bare minimum for their mamas, and I'm not with it. I'm kind of upset at my mom because she decided to steal both. Me and my sister had the same idea to get her for Mother's Day. This set of like, you make a vase out of picture frames basically, and you put a picture of all the kids in it and
that's
stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, my mom decided to make it for herself. So can't get her that.
But you
could definitely do that, and that's a great idea. I'm sorry.
Now, you know something? Let's get back to the breakfast in bed thing. You kids, listen, this is an easy deal. Get a tray and decorate it up really nice and get vases with flowers or even artificial flowers.
Right.
Moms love it. And I know the busy moms, you make them sit and say, Mom, I want to do this for you. And a tray, and you do it up really nice, and it costs you no money because the food is usually in your fridge.
Costs mama money.
Make coffee, make orange juice, whatever. And
pick some wildflowers. Like, you don't need to spend money on flowers.
Yeah. And just make sure you're not taking them out of somebody's yard.
Yes, wild flowers.
And well, that's just one way that you can do Mom's Day. Of course, it's nice to go to dinner, and as moms, the kids get older. My daughters, I hate to tell them, but sorry guys, you're in your 50s. So when you get to a certain age, you're not doing that anymore, but you could go to dinner, take Mom out to dinner somewhere nice, go to the theater. People aren't going to the theater too much anymore. Pandemic has put a lot of things in us. I mean, I keep wanting to put this up the whole time.
I know.
Because we're so used to it. And now we don't have to do it anymore, but you know, you get used to the thing. I do know that I do this whenever I see children around. If the tours would come, I would put it up because I just feel like just in case I have it, Brittany's okay with it.
Yeah, just the comfortability thing.
Yeah, so we're still not out of the woods yet when it comes to the pandemic, but it doesn't have to spoil Mother's Day. Right?
I say it certainly doesn't, because more and more shops and stuff, I'll go more into this on a different episode, but more and more shops or restaurants are having outdoor seating too.
Yes.
It's gonna charge a little bit extra, but gives you, open air, less of the scared of the capacity and everything. So I think that's really exciting.
And then another good thing is have a picnic for Mother's Day. Even have a picnic in your own backyard, Just get a tablecloth with some paper plates and stuff and then say, hey Mom, we're going to have a picnic and we're outdoors and we're safe. We don't have to go to the restaurant. But also the movies. You can take your mom to the movie, see a movie.
I know something that my family looks at is sometimes we take my mom to a sports game too. Just because, so this year I was thinking of maybe trying to get her a baseball game or something, like the Orioles, because they actually, fun fact, put little pink Mother Day things on their bases, because even the Orioles are celebrating Mother's Day.
Everybody's got a mother.
Well, me and my mom are constantly in a fight because Mother's Day is a week before my birthday, so it's a struggle, but I'm sure you know that because your daughter, you said.
Well, I only have to deal with it every so many years because it changes, but she was born May 8th, and that was the first Mother's Day, and then the following year it wasn't the same thing, but she does feel a little deprived of her birthday, because it's Mother's Day there. But I want to tell you something that you won't believe I'm going to say. One of the fun movies to watch and see, and I've heard so much about this movie, and I finally watched it. When my son, I asked my son, what's it like? And he was like, he didn't really watch it. He told me So it's called Cocaine Bear.
Oh my gosh, my boyfriend wants to see this movie so bad.
This movie is a riot. I mean, seriously, it's about a true story. This guy actually stole this money, this dope, and put it in duffel bags and got a private plane and was planned to throw it all out over the state park and then was going to jump out and then go get it. And then he killed himself on the way down. It's not funny. But he wound up in somebody's backyard. And he had the backpack with all the cocaine on it, so they knew what had happened, but they never found the cocaine. So they really found some packs ravaged, and they thought, well, the animals must have got it. So somebody said this bear was on cocaine, and this was all part of the true story. Well, anyway, my point of this movie is that I loved Ray Liotta. I don't say Liotta, Liotta.
Ray Liotta,
Yeah, I love this guy, and he passed away. This was his last movie. And
oh my gosh, I didn't know he...
Yeah, so this is why I will always love this movie, because this was his farewell, his swan song to the industry, and people have been ranting and raving about Cocaine Bear. You can't take your kids. It isn't good for kids, but it's a very tongue-in-cheek satire. It's very funny, I think. It's sad sometimes, but the bear does not die. I'm just going to tell you.
Spoilers, but good spoilers. So you can take Mama for Mother's Day because you don't have to worry about it.
Right, but my son told me that the bear died, and I was like, oh, I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it.
The bear died. But anyway.
I'm still in shock about Ray Liotta. I didn't know he passed.
Oh, yeah. What a wonderful guy. He was in Goodfellas and a whole bunch of really great movies. But anyway, so that is a fun movie, and there's other fun movies that are out there. I don't know if you know any.
I watch a lot of Marvel stuff, so I know Ant-Man. I know Shazam was out for a while.
Yes, there's some movies that Mom might like to see. I mean, I'm a mom, an old mom, and I like John Wick. John Wick 1, 2, and 3, you know? I love Bruce Willis, poor old fellow, he has problems now with they say he has dementia or something, Alzheimer's. But God bless you, Bruce, because you gave us a lot of great entertainment. Yeah. And Die Hard is my guy.
So definitely taking your mom to a theater, because let's face it, I know my mom hasn't been to the theater in a minute, like at least 2 years.
Right.
So I feel like that might be a great idea. Even if if both parents are still alive, even just I could send both of my parents to the theater. It's on me. Here you go.
Okay, Brittany, it's time, I believe, for a commercial break.
It should be.
We'll be right back. And here's the commercial. Here's the commercial. The commercial is come down and see historicships.org. Okay, go online and check it out. historicships.org. This is one place you can take Mom. Bring her down here. Also, the ships all over the harbor. It's fun. You go on from one to the other, and dads will love the Torsk. It's a real submarine, and it had history in World War II. The Taney was in Pearl Harbor when Pearl Harbor was attacked, and it was the only ship that was able to fire.
Wow.
And it saved a lot of lives. So this history is in your harbor downtown,
Right here, something for everybody, because literally you have cannons firing, that always gets the kids into it. You have, I'm sure Mom just loves being with everybody, but walking around, there's beautiful shops and stuff you can always see, plenty of places to eat, and heaven knows for Mother's Day, all the restaurants will be ready to pamper the mom. So,
and as we came over here today, we passed through a shop that had the most lovely clothes for Mom dresses. I love the caftans, right?
Oh my gosh,
beautiful
sundresses.
And I don't know the name of the shop, but he's right across. As you come out the ship, you go right up the steps, and he's the first store inside.
Yeah.
We're going to stop and talk to him, and maybe try to put him up on YouTube with our shows, because the clothes in there are reasonable and beautiful. So you can bring Mom down here, do some tours, go for lunch, go for dinner. You can have a whole day on the harbor. The aquarium's down here.
Oh my gosh,
the Science Center. The American Visionary Art Museum. My goodness, right there.
Let's say a little bit off, but the Edgar Allan Poe House.
Yep, and the B&O Railroad.
Yes.
Up the road.
Yes.
And you can take tours on the trains there, and they have other trains to go. But also the Rusty Scupper, I think it's still there right across from the AVAM, is upscale, but a nice place to take Mom if you want to go.
Definitely.
Trendy, So that's the thing on the harbor. You have a choice of hamburgers and hot dogs. You have a choice of upscale restaurants, seafood restaurants, all down here on the harbor.
Let's say there's all these options, but not even just that. Like there's for Mother's Day, there's gonna be so many events open. Like from comedy jams to brunches for moms to all day Mother's Day tea, or there's even like a Mother's Day crab fest.
Wow.
Yeah,
about to say that.
So there's places you can take your mama everywhere, and again, as we've said, you could just do a picnic in the park, or
the backyard, even.
Or the backyard, yeah. Or come down to the harbor and give some business to these businesses that really need it with the pandemic and stuff. It's always good to support your own homegrown businesses and get more in our city to really build tourists and build everybody to actually come on the ship.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Baltimore is it's one of the 5 light centers of the world. Okay, like Alexandria, Egypt. Okay, and New York was one, but Baltimore is one of the 5 light centers. People don't realize this. It was predicted that in the future, Baltimore will stand and be stronger. We have some of the best talent come out of Baltimore, from Billie Holiday onward. You name it, some of the great jazz musicians, some of the great singers, Jada Pinkett Smith. Baltimore is the new New York. I would like to say it's the old Baltimore. It's Baltimore. I mean, there were movies coming out of here in the 1940s,
I call it the mini Hollywood. So it's the new New York, the mini Hollywood.
And Brian Dragonuk, we mentioned, is a great source for talent if you're in the industry.
Yes.
My hosts all come from there. But Brittany came from Barbara. Well, you came from Dragonuk. And I'm a judge for Barbizon for 15 years. I've been a judge, and Brittany is a graduate from Barbizon. So Barbizon's a great place. It's going to be here in the summer in the harbor.
Right after Renaissance.
Renaissance Hotel across the street. And it's great for teaching kids manners and poise. And when we go there, because Brittany's been joining me, we go there, we show them how to run cameras. We try to teach them and let them know that there's a place for you behind the camera, not just in front of it. You can be a writer, a director, a producer. Brittany's helping write a book with me. Brittany's doing screenplays now, so there's she's co-producing the Top of the Morning show with me now. So, there's ways to get into this industry.
And I'm so sorry, but most people, they don't even talk about it, but most of your favorite actors out there are already doing it. That's how most of them, most people want to be an actor, okay? Most people want to make it into this industry. A lot of people make it into it by producing their own stuff and starring themselves in it.
Exactly.
Let's say, speaking of, we have a few films that we're planning on getting started on soon.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We said November, so we have some time.
Right.
We're trying to do, and I'll save this for the other show, because this is the Mother's Day show. So we're going to take another break. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there, and we'll be right back. And hello, we're right back.
Hi!
If you know anything about YouTube, they pop the commercials right in there. So if they don't, God knows, sometimes they just interrupt you, so you have to deal with it. It's just the magic of YouTube.
Right, it's A-okay. We'll work with it. We're flexible.
I think YouTube is the future. I think if you see all that's happening on YouTube, people are putting it down, but you can get it on TV now. I have my own station. I got my own YouTube channel. I just turn on my channel, and there's all my shows. By the way, my shows are at hanburycross.com, and that's HBC TV. HBC is Hanbury Cross, and that's my grandmother's name, Hanbury. And then True Vision, not TV, True Vision. So I have the True Vision. And I'm not joking, there's over 2,000 shows up on YouTube.
Yes.
And there's playlists. So if you want to watch Top of the Morning, there's 400 plus Top of the Morning shows there. There's On the Road shows. There's Spotlight on the Blacks and Wax Music, because we shoot over at the Museum Mansion.
I would say she has so many fantastic films. Some obviously from before I came here, but we have.
Do you have the Goddess book?
It's right over here.
Okay, so
I will be right back.
1 minute to show you this goddess book because we're speaking of Mother's Day, and I do want to show you this book. I wrote this book during the pandemic. Okay, it's called The Book of Invented Goddesses. And on the back cover are all the hosts that ever host Top of the Morning Show or have been guests on the Top of the Morning Show, and it's dedicated to Rebecca Hofberger of the American Visionary Art Museum. And also we have Zoe Meyerhoff, Dr. Joanne Martin, Dr. Claire Parkinson, Lowell Ree. We have a whole load, and Brittany's in here, also somewhere in here. There's a couple photos in there. But we're going to rebring this book out again with some more photos on the back. Happy Mother's Day to all these people on the back of the book. Happy Mother's Day, Rebecca. Happy Mother's Day, Joanne, with all your wonderful children in that museum, and you know what I'm talking about. Happy Mother's Day, Zoe. Happy Mother's Day. And the only man in this book is Robert Hieronymus, Dr. Bob. We all know Dr. Bob, who did the Volkswagen, right? He has some great stuff coming up. He's been asked and commissioned to do a special Volkswagen.
Wow.
Painted for the company. And he is just still going strong, and his Yellow Submarine book is great. So he's the only man in this book, in the back of this book. And this book is about women that treated me kind of badly at times, and so I created an image of them as a goddess and how they would look in their best selves. And we would all like to be goddesses, and I think women are goddesses, and I said to Brittany, there were women at the foot of the cross. Women have stood up in history. It's a hard time for us right now, Moms and Mother's Day and everything coming up. All the laws and rights that we are losing, we need to band together and fight to keep these rights, because, Hatshepsut was a pharaoh of Egypt, and they destroyed all of her images and got rid of her. Nefertiti, Cleopatra, they don't want you to know that women have had power before.
Right.
And they take the power away, and so don't count on it. Because we have recently found out how we can lose power.
Yeah. Not only is it always a threat of being taken away, but women, as you've said, like with the World War II boat over there, women have constantly come together in hard times to prove our own worth.
Rosie the Riveter, And the thing is, we went out there, women, not me, but some of those women went out there, and they did jobs that men were doing. But when the men came back, they all got kicked back into the kitchen, and it's been a struggle. It will always be a struggle. But just remember that in part of the world today, women have to cover themselves from head to toe, and they're not allowed to be educated. So just think about that. In America, no matter what's going on, we have freedom and rights, but don't let's lose them. Don't let's get blind to not see what's happening sometimes.
We have a fantastic show on Teen Scene talking about Title IX and how so many people, especially the younger generation, don't really know about it. Highly recommend if you guys haven't seen it yet. We need to make sure we keep our rights there, because they're not guaranteed for us.
And that show we were talking, Brittany hosted that show, and we were talking about that the 1970s was when The Exorcist came out, and all these young teens knew about The Exorcist, but they didn't know about Title IX.
Jaws.
And Jaws. And what Title IX was about, being able to participate in sports. And before that, you weren't able to, professionally participate on the same level as men. And then, when it got passed and it came out, then it got rejected and, it got recalled. And then I had to come back out again. So don't look at the history of the past 50 years. And look, moms, as we go forward, Mother's Day, remember, every man has a mother.
I was literally just about to tie it back into Mother's Day also, was saying, so kids, you see, moms as women are going through so much more than probably what you're even thinking. So what better way to just show them that they're loved and appreciated by letting them have a great Mother's Day? Please prove this article wrong, and don't just leave your mom high and dry on Mother's Day.
And think about this, women, we're not giving moms a fair shot. Teens out there, I know you're going through angst beyond belief because of the pandemic, because of the politics, because you feel betrayed by people. But really, look at your mother's life. Look at it. Look back on the past of her life. Look what her struggles have been. She's doing the best she can, So give her a break, especially on
Mother's Day.
And we're going to take another commercial break right now. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, do you know a famous mother?
I sure hope so.
Well, I'm just going to say, how about Mother Goose? Mother Goose, I love to tell the story of Mother Goose. Charles Perrault, who was this technical writer to the King of France 400 years ago, right? And he was very proud of his 62 years old. He had this job, and then he got fired, right?
Wow.
And so he's fired, and he's home with his 2 sons, and he's very depressed. And so he starts to make up all these stories, like Red Riding Hood and Cinderella and you name it, all the fairy tales. And then Mother Goose, he made up Mother Goose. And it's funny because 400 years later, he's more famous for that than being the King's writer. So as a writer, don't worry if you get rejected, because believe me, I've been rejected. This is my 30th book, but I've been rejected so many times, and now I publish my own book. Don't let them tell you no. Because look, I did it. It's Hanbury Cross Publications. I laid the book out. I published it. I'm very proud of it.
Yes.
And I actually did all the photographs and laid all this in the back of the book because no one else would do it. So I did it.
Because if that's not the common thread for all women, if no one else will do it, we'll make it happen.
Make it happen. Do it yourself.
Definitely.
DIY.
DIY.
Speaking of DIY, go to the dollar shop if you haven't got money for Mother's Day. There's tons of great stuff in the
Just
dollar
find
shop.
something around your house. You can draw her a picture. You'll be fine.
Yeah. You'll be surprised once you start letting your brain function on that other side of the rainbow.
Right, and if you really are just one of those people that just aren't creative, the internet. It's great. It helps you find cheap.
Go on YouTube and put in DIY, and you'll get all this do-it-yourself stuff that you can make lots of wonderful things for Mother's Day.
Again, just going to give everybody one quick reminder. If you see people walking in the background or hear those loud thuds, we have live tours here for the USS Constellation, and you could be part of the people touring. So
Come down. The ship is loaded with history. I mean, cannons everywhere. And they shoot the cannon off at noon. I think we missed it today.
Yeah, I think so.
But you can go on YouTube and find Top of the Morning, and you can go in. It actually says the cannon shooting, and it's a show about the cannon being shot. So you can find almost anything on YouTube as far as Top of the Morning goes. Well, I mean, lots of other things on YouTube.
You can literally find anything on YouTube.
And that's the thing now. I started a diet, and diabetic. I'm a diabetic, and I started a diet. Mothers, take care of yourself, But I started a diet, and it's about a lot of good, healthy, nutritious things on YouTube that you can. We're actually shooting a show here, ladies. Nothing we can do. All right. So you go on YouTube and check it out, and you can find a lot of great stuff for Mother's Day. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And guess what? We're right back.
Hello.
Welcome to Top of the Morning. We're here on board the USS Constellation. The show's been on the air for 20 years, and we have survived everything. And we are here for 20 years because we do survive. And we're minimal. We have very small equipment, very little. They let us come back because we don't take up a lot of space. We don't have wires and cords running everywhere. And
yeah, I feel like we come back with less and less equipment and come out with more and more shows. Now we're on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, high five, Facebook people.
Hello. I hope everybody is having a great, beautiful day. Finally a break from the rain.
Wonderful day. It's so beautiful down here today at the harbor. The air is fresh and crisp. Oh, it's lovely. We're getting this in just before the heat's going to happen.
Yes, the heat's going to get rough, but it's okay because at least we finally had a little break from rain until Tuesday.
So, you know what? We're going to say goodbye right now because we will actually talk ourselves off the air,
yes.
Okay? But right now we're going to say we hope you enjoyed the show today. I think we have more minutes to go, but just in case, we're going to say this is it for Top of the Morning. Happy Mother's Day. Do get in touch with us. Get in touch with Brittany or or get in touch with McDonough_Davis at MSN.com.
And my email is Runk7, BRITRUNK07
And also, if you call the ship, they will be able to put you in touch with us too. Alexa is one of my goddesses. She helps us with a lot of stuff.
Very grateful for all the incredible people.
And we want to welcome the new director, Steve. And we want to say goodbye to Chris Rosen. We were with Chris Rosen for 20 years. Chris, we miss you.
Right, but please enjoy retirement.
Yes, enjoy retirement. You certainly deserve it.
Yes.
And he's a great guy, and he was with Living Classrooms, and this has just been a wonderful 20 years that he's always welcomed us with open arms on board. And there are many interviews we did with him over the years, so you can go on YouTube and check and see Top of the Morning with Chris Rosen from the past. Okay, well, we are still running tape, so we're going to continue on. We just wanted to say goodbye just in case.
Just in case. And I'm going to say it one more time, just a very happy Mother's Day to all mothers, both with us and not with us anymore. Thank all of you guys for everything you've ever done.
Well, I got to tell you, my mom died when I was 14, so I'm her poem, I'm her poetry, because I rewrote all of her work, and I'm actually publishing one of her books called Living for Spite, which is what my mother did. She lived for spite while she lived, but she put a lot into me in 14 years.
I like that.
And my companies are named after her. McDonough is her maiden name. Davis is my grandmother's name. And my mom was Ann Shadbolt. That was my dad's name. And so I did do a lot to commemorate her. I had written the book called The Burning of the Bag and What It Begot, which was 699 pages, you know? And I wrote that book because my poor husband, I was married only barely 20. I mean, I was literally 19 when I got engaged and 20 married. And then I went to my dad and said, these are all my mother's writings. And she had had one book published called Gay's Adventure in England. And we came to America, she was going to make it, and then she died of cancer, sadly. But this book was already published, and then she had all these manuscripts in a brown paper bag. So I brought them home, and I said to Lou, let me read these to you. And he's like, I'm not interested in mamsy-pamsy stuff. That's what he called it, mamsy-pamsy stuff. So I took the brown
Raise a different generation.
took the brown paper. No, husbands are all the same. Okay. I put the bag in the bassinet and said, "Don't worry, Mom. I will read all these stories to your grandchildren." And I was 7 months pregnant with my first daughter, Angela, and my poor old husband got